All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the episode number 9 of AppSource Central. Here we discuss Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central apps on Microsoft AppSource and talk to the ISVs behind those apps. Today, I have a guest from Ireland. I'll be speaking to Yury Rest from Evo-Soft. Welcome to the podcast, Yury.
Thanks,
And
Arad. That's great.
Yeah, thanks for taking time for being our guest today. Can you please introduce yourself, Yury?
My name is Yury Rest, as you said. I'm working for Irish partner with Irish partner for over 10 years now, and I've been living in Ireland for 20 years. So yeah, it's all good.
Wow, fantastic. All right. So you work for Evo-Soft, right? And an
Yeah.
ISV and a partner in Ireland. Can you talk us a little bit about Evo-Soft?
E- Evo-Soft is ISV mostly concentrating in Dynamics world. So we have started quite a while ago, even before, a long time ago, before I joined. We are working with other products. So we're providing mobile solutions, ERP, but mostly concentrating on Navision and Business Central now.
All right, sounds good. Is there
But we are
any
just generally a software provider, yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Regarding the Business Central or the Navision and Business Central part of practice, is there any specific domains that you guys are focusing on, any specific industries?
We're actually concentrating in the warehousing and finance in general, but we also provide solutions in mobile part. So we are providing solutions for sales.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and like we offer all sorts of automation, including banking, purchasing, warehouse, manufacturing.
Yeah.
Pretty much we're targeting all areas.
Sounds good. Yeah, so a bit of an all-rounder. Yeah. Great. So today, I mean, this podcast is all about AppSource and
Yes.
exploring the apps in there. And I know you guys are also have a few apps. Before we dive into AppSource and talk about the apps in there, can you talk me through your AppSource journey? So how is it going with AppSource and you guys getting good benefit out of it?
At the moment, so we have started with AppSource. Our journey wasn't from the beginning. So we're kind of later um, joining the train of AppSource later than probably everybody else, or maybe most of the people. Has it been smooth? I think it is, yes. So by the time we joined AppSource and started submitting extensions there, I think Microsoft have improved it. I remember in the beginning there were ups and downs with AppSource, so people had issues and so on. Since we joined, I can't complain. The process that Microsoft implemented is excellent, and I think it's straightforward. As long as you follow the rules that they have set up on the AppSource, I think it is straightforward, and deployment happens quick.
When did you guys join?
When we started submitting extensions, I think it was even last year.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Before that, we
Very good.
weren't submitting anything to AppSource. We were deploying everything kind of ourselves. We didn't have any offerings.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now we are
Yeah.
trying to push more and more extensions into AppSource, and I think that's the objective because everything goes there.
Okay, and why do you think that is? Is this because kind of a distribution model, or it's benefits around marketing as well, and you get leads, or maybe scaling up? Where do you see the real benefit of it?
I think it's all of the benefits. So
Yeah,
it's the scaling, it's the single platform that Microsoft managed themselves. What I would like to do is to tap into the monetization, obviously. At the moment, I don't even know. I haven't looked into what Microsoft are providing in terms
yeah,
of monetization, but obviously it would be a big part of AppSource usage that I would see. And
Yeah,
then
sure.
again, central distribution, it's maintained and managed by Microsoft as a single platform.
Definitely, it brings some convenience, and rather than you handle it per client, have your apps installed and updated. So AppSource would definitely add some convenience there. So okay, you guys are not transactable in AppSource, so not using that. So you have your own solution, kind of a thing, to my understanding.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Um, you also on the other side as well, right? So what I mean by that is, as well as you have apps on AppSource for other partners or clients to download and use, you also use other AppSource apps for
That's
implementations,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Can you talk me through that process as well? So how do you find the right app in AppSource? What are the criteria you look in there?
Oh,
Tough one?
it is. Yeah. I guess from our perspective, everything is driven by the client. So when customer requests something, they can either find. Recently, we had experience where customers were looking. I can't say what that was.
Hmm.
They were looking for an extension. They found a few extensions that other partners provide, and that they asked us to analyze the extensions and see if they fit their business. Um, Mostly that's where it's coming from. I don't think we're implementing and researching ourselves. So
Oh,
we
okay.
are following customer requirements.
That's interesting. That's usually the other way around. Customer comes with
Okay.
the requirement and partner find alternatives and try to select the best one for the customer. But the customer's coming to you with the alternatives and
Yeah,
let your
they do.
opinion
Yeah,
to decide which one is the best. So how do
they
you
do. Yeah.
pick the best one for them? Is it the business? Is this the business processes or the functionalities in those apps, or is it the perhaps obviously there's going to be a price element, I presume, but is it the people behind those apps? So how do you select the best one?
Yeah, we typically contact other partners and we
Yeah.
ask for support. So whoever is better supporting the apps, they probably end up winning this.
Okay. Okay. That's a good answer. So yeah, it's the ISV that is there for you when you need them, like the accessible
Exactly.
one, the reachable one, because no solution is perfect, right? There's gonna be a need for support, and being there for the partner, that's a good answer. So the support mainly it comes first, right? So whoever
I
gives the
think so.
best support kind of wins.
That's what we are trying to do ourselves as well. So when somebody
Hmm.
comes to us, we are trying to support as best as we can.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. That's a really good answer. Um, okay, so let's have a look what apps you guys have. And meantime, do you guys are you mainly predominantly, I think, operating in Ireland, right? Do you also have clients in other countries or even continents?
We do, yeah, indeed.
Okay.
We have um, in other European countries, we have in the United States, and we don't have anyone in New Zealand yet.
Oh, that's a shame.
We're going to change that, I guess.
We're gonna change that, yeah. Depending on the podcast, outcome of the podcast, that might change.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, cool. So, how do you support your clients in United States or in other continents?
Um, Same as in Ireland.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
The
the
time
support
difference
mainly
is
happens.
becoming a challenge.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately the time difference sometimes plays a role, but really, um, uh, especially in the modern world, it doesn't make too much of a difference because you're always connected. Like we're talking now, you have almost midnight, and I'm here
Yeah,
midday, uh,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
the
We
same
have
thing. You just and
13
if you
hours difference.
dedicate to the customer support, then you can support. You can find out uh, what is the right time to support, and the customers obviously
Okay.
will
I
do
think the
that.
reason I keep bringing this time difference, time difference being a challenge, is based on the fact that I'm in New Zealand because everything seems so far to me, and
Oh
some
yeah,
people
okay.
say, yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal for many, but for me, it's almost it's quite a big challenge because the difference
Okay.
is quite big. So that's why I highlight it all the time almost. Yep, but I understand your point. Let's have a look at your apps. Let's have a look at it. So first of all, I want to ask something, Yury. So when I search Evo-Soft, the first three apps comes on the list is Evo-Soft Ireland, and then it carries on as Evo-Soft Limited, not Ireland this time. And when
Yeah.
I try to dig a bit deeper on that Evo-Soft apps, not the Ireland ones, then something called BCN opens up, BCN group.
Yeah.
So can you walk me through who is Evo-Soft Ireland, who is Evo-Soft, and then who is BCN group?
We had when we were created originally, there was a sister company in the UK created as well. And a few years ago, that sister company was sold to a PCN group. But they obviously still appear in Microsoft world. They still appear, those extensions at least, they still appear as Evo-Soft. I don't know if they're going to rebrand them or how are they going to work. It's all marketing. But they obviously have some agreement. But that's how that appears. We have a sister company, or we had a sister company, and they branding some of the stuff themselves, and we are branding as Evo-Soft Ireland.
That sisterhood doesn't exist anymore?
The actual company, I don't think they exist. I don't think. They've been acquired by another company.
Okay, so it's completely different entities now. So there's
At the moment, it is, yeah.
Yeah, okay, not relation. All right, so we'll focus on the Evo-Soft Ireland ones anyway. So first of all, the first step comes here is the Evo-Soft local access. So can you talk us through briefly what this does?
So local access is the extension for UCI compliance, if you know what I mean. So in the cloud, in the SaaS environment, you can't use file system. You don't have FTP. And the general advice is to go Azure Functions or anything like that. So local access gives you ability to use local resources on the machine. It gives you access to the file system on site, off site. It gives you access to client application. It contains FTP modules. That's what the local access is.
Okay, it's one of the most common requirements for
Exactly, yeah.
clients going to SaaS. So the thing is, what do you mean that it cannot access my C drive, right? Because they've been importing files, exporting files to seamlessly from their local drives or connecting local printers or whatnot or devices. With PC SaaS, the access was not anymore. But there is solutions like it's vast number of solutions. I think there is no excuse of that limitation anymore, right? It's you can't even say.
Correct.
I mean, and your app is just another solution out there. So you just install this app and then boom, you have your C drive accessible, right? Kind of a
Correct.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's brilliant. And the next one is Evo-Soft Sales Analysis. A couple of words about this one, Yury.
It comes, so all of our extensions, obviously, they come from customer requirements. So customers, they wanted to have a universal sales analysis information available to their reporting tools. So sales analysis basically brings all of your transactions into one place with a single view. And it allows you to connect. So if you expose sales analysis results as a web service, let's say, then you can connect. We are using Jet Reports for reporting or Power BI for reporting, and it just simplifies the lookup from multiple tables into a single table almost. That's what sales
Right.
analysis
Okay.
is.
So there are some screenshots in there as well. So the number of fields and the amount of information is quite quite a lot. So I can see how
Is
useful
large,
can it
yeah.
be. And the next one is the one that we're gonna dive a bit deeper is the Evo-Soft Object Control. All right. So this is a bit of an interesting one. Can you talk us through what is Evo-Soft Object Control, what it does that we cannot do in the standard application?
So standard application is obviously great in terms of permissions and user management. But one thing standard application doesn't allow us easily to do is to restrict access to users to specific objects. Yes, you can create permissions and then restrict them from permission set, but object control, again, it came from customer requirement where they wanted to restrict to specific users separate permission so that even super users couldn't get themselves permissions set up, but maintain it separately. So that's what object control does. It allows you to restrict access even to super users to, let's say, chart of accounts, then you can't access it, or you can restrict insert permissions to customer cards so that users can't randomly create customer records or even item records. That's the purpose of the object control.
Okay, that's an interesting one. I don't see many apps like that as well. This is a bit of a unique app that adds that extra layer on top of the security. Is there anything else you want to add on? So you said this even overrides super, right? So whatever permissions you have, this comes on top of that permissions. So it doesn't matter
It
if you are
sits on top,
super,
yeah.
it still sits on top. So if you don't have the necessary permissions to actually view the chart of accounts, you won't be able to do that. It doesn't matter regardless of your super permission.
Correct, yeah. For example, if you're talking about chart of accounts, obviously company balances are in the chart of accounts, and therefore company the management might want to restrict access to chart of accounts to other employees in the company, just so that they can't see sensitive information. And with permissions, it is difficult enough to do it because how do you restrict somebody from posting a sales order, because it needs access to not chart of accounts itself, but it needs access to GL accounts, GL entries. Yeah. So with permissions, it's almost impossible to do.
I see what you mean.
Direct access, direct launch of chart of accounts object prevents you from seeing actual GL accounts.
Okay. Yeah, you need to read or write to GL entries, but you shouldn't be seeing the balances of the GL account, which is obviously driven by GL entries. Correct, so there's a conflict there, and this app actually kind of addresses that conflict. And that's, okay, that was a really good use case in terms of the finances. What else in terms of what kind of businesses you would see this using this app heavily?
Any business really that uses Business Central could leverage this app because it is useful depending on what you are trying to restrict in the system. So by default, as you know, the Business Central system, it's wide open. So as long as you have permissions, you don't have any restrictions inside Business Central. You have record level restrictions, but then again, this is not record level. This is business logic. This is above record and permissions.
Yeah. So obviously permission sets, and we can give limited permissions, or we can alter permission sets based on the roles, and that's that's what we have in terms of giving permissions to objects. To be honest, I've seen many implementations that people are just super. So they can just with their super role they can do anything, and
that's what we have too.
Then you have one of the user going and deleting database, and then because they can do it, this is the old days, like in the classic development environment. There was this database delete. Are you sure? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. It was asking, I think, 3 times or something.
Or even company delete. Yeah,
company do it. Yeah, I mean, you're super. You can do anything, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, uh, yep, that's good. All right. And this is kind of an app. Yuri, correct me if I'm wrong, but a customer can find and directly just implement on their own. They don't really need much of an onboarding, even though in your documentation it was saying that you're offering your consultation in terms of understanding the use case and how to set up appropriately based on their use case. But it seems straightforward in terms of onboarding.
it is.
Um,
Yes.
what do you think about the onboarding process and your involvement?
So if somebody obviously can implement, they can implement it. If they need any help, they can reach out to us, and we'll be able, um, or we'll be
Okay.
happy even to support and guide them through
Yeah.
the onboarding process, through implementation, and further down.
Yeah. Fair enough. But do you see customers really they can just without your need they can just onboard themselves? Is that what you've been experiencing so far?
No, we don't have customers. So from our experience, we don't have customers who are brave enough to do this
Okay.
stuff themselves. So
Uh,
yes, we have power users in some of the customers that are curious to see what's
yeah.
going on. So they would do it on a sandbox, but they would never do it in production environment. They would always
Yeah.
reach out and say, "Oh, what do you think of this? Can I do that?" But
Okay.
in sandbox, they would be experimenting.
Okay. Maybe it's because it's such a hot topic, right? It's security, right?
I
So
think it is, yeah.
yeah, you can't really joke around. Not much room to mistakes when it comes to security, and I can see why people can be a bit cautious to do it all themselves. Okay, granted. Is there anything else that I think this app, for my 2 cents, it's a bit unique in terms of what it addresses. There's not much apps out there doing the same thing.
Right.
And
Okay.
that's why it might be quite popular as well. And it's quite straightforward, easy to understand. So granted, is there anything else you want to add to Evo-Soft object control capabilities or anything to note on this app?
Not really. As you said, it is very straightforward and it does what it says on the tin. That's all it
Okay.
is.
All right, that's quite important. That's quite important. It does what it says on the tin. Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant description. Okay, so and we covered what's on the tin. That's good. So people know what it can do. Um, so let's talk about a bit of the technical stuff. So how I tend to ask this to everyone to get a feeling of how they take care of their apps. So how do you take care of yours in terms of your CI/CD processes or your tests and so on?
We use obviously DevOps
Hmm.
um, for everything. So everything is in DevOps because it's Microsoft platform. Again, they
Yeah.
maintain it, they support it, and it makes sense to use it. We have tried using GitHub,
Hmm.
and it didn't work out for us. So we came back
Okay.
to DevOps for one reason or another. And
Okay.
yeah, we use DevOps to for full operations. So all of the pipelines, everything runs through DevOps.
Fair enough. You have your own pipelines. Do you manage your own pipelines or do you have like a managed solution?
No, we manage our own pipelines.
Okay. So you use PC container helper functionalities?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. So any comments further down the line as it will be deprecated VC Container Helper and its CI/CD capabilities? Do you have any plans what to do, or just waiting to see how things will play out? Because surely there's gonna be some alternatives, right?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
Plan B is not in action yet.
Okay. There's I think it's gonna be in 2027, so there's more than 2 years. So granted, yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be some solution in Azure
Can
DevOps
I
as well
ask you
to replace.
what are your plan B?
My plan B.
Mhm. I
Our plan A, first of all, let's start from plan A. Our plan A is quite similar as well. Our
okay.
plan B, we're exploring GitHub, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go for GitHub. Um, it's free, right? It's managed by Microsoft. Um, so it's definitely an avenue that we're exploring. Um, because we're not a big team. So the CI/CD expert, it's something we cannot afford, let's say. Maybe we
Okay.
can, but don't. And does it really make sense to have that sort of an expert in BC team? That's also another discussion. And for me, having a managed solution in place so that I don't really worry about all those changes in the background, it makes sense. So that's the direction. Now, for me, it's important to have a managed solution in one platform or another. That's the way
Mhm.
to go, and that's what I'm trying to pitch as an idea, let's say.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think
And
that's
ALCO
mm,
will cover all of this, you reckon?
it covers already quite a lot.
Okay.
I mean, depending on what you do. I mean, at the end of the day, what you want is you want to test your app based on the next minor, next major, and you want to run your tests with your pipeline. So these are the things that you want to make sure that in place, right? That's what you want to get out of your CI/CD.
That's
It's
right. Yeah.
quality assurance and all those basics. Obviously, it's covered in Go for GitHub. And I mean, yeah, it leaves another discussion, like because the person heavily involved, the architect in Microsoft is leaving Microsoft, so that's kind of
Disaster.
I'm not sure what's gonna make a change, but yeah, it's something to note as well. But yeah, it's definitely a solution that I'm keen to explore further. But yeah, so that's CI/CD. That's good. So do you guys have your tests in place? Test automation? How do you manage that in terms of taking care of your apps?
It's probably not as good as it should be,
Hmm.
but it is basic test automation that we are running as part of the release pipeline. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So at least there's something in place, right?
Oh, there is
Uh,
the definitely.
okay, that's good. Okay, so I'll move on to the next topic of collaboration. The collaboration of yourself personally and your company with the wider group of ISVs in Business Central community or Microsoft itself. How do you feel that level of engagement from your perspective? What are the areas you like, and what are the areas that you want to see more improvement?
I think that's a very wide topic, very wide pitch you get
Do
there.
you, do you want me to narrow it down?
I think so, please, if you
Okay.
can.
Well, I'll narrow it down. Okay. How do you, in terms of the collaboration in Business Central partners in Ireland,
Mhm.
um, can you talk me through that collaboration, that local collaboration? Do you guys support each other? Say, um, this is a really difficult topic to
Exactly, yeah.
because you are competitors as well, but there should be a level of collaboration to grow the Business Central community in your local as well, right? Business Central scene in local. Where do you sit? Where do you sit in terms of that collaboration versus competition? Did it narrow it down enough, or should I
I
go?
I think yeah, I think I understand. We are open enough. So yes, to your point, regardless of competition, we are still community, and the whole objective of this Business Central is to support customers. So what I
Hmm,
like about Microsoft is, um, their motto is that we allow customers to grow more, and we support customers growing. So at the end of the day, what we are doing is we are helping customers to achieve more in their everyday lives, and as a community of Business Central, yes, we should be supporting each other. And I believe in our company, we are open enough. So if a partner, a customer, whoever needs help and they reach out to us, we will be able to help them as much as we can, regardless whether they are a competitor or not, because we are doing the same thing as they are doing.
That's really good answer. Thank you for that. How do you keep up with everything going on with our ecosystem? So let's talk about that a
Disaster,
little bit.
disaster. It's like the overall technology is moving so fast and it's very,
Yeah.
very difficult. And I feel it's every day even more difficult than yesterday
Okay.
to keep up with
Yeah.
it, because the more
Yeah.
people engaging on every single front of the technology, they adding more, and therefore the technology itself, the landscape, the platform changes, and it's just a challenge. It's an
A
everyday
challenge.
challenge to keep
Yeah.
up with it.
Yeah. Because it's not only enough these days to keep up what's happening with Business Central, but you also need to
Exactly.
understand what's happening within the ecosystem and around it, because
Yeah.
eventually it will be impacted, right? So what do you do really? So do you go to the events? Like I know you guys go to tech days, right? That's one thing. So it really pumps up in 3 days. Like it fills you with a lot of knowledge. I mean, I've never been there, but the first thing I do when the tech days are over, I open up Mibuso YouTube channel, and I think the next day they deployed in the last event, and that was fantastic. So that's the first thing I do. I open up the Mibuso channel and try to watch as much as videos as possible. But being there should be something else, right?
It is different, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a great event. It happens once a year, but
Hmm.
even before that event, there are other events. There are partners, directions for partners. There are
Yeah.
different Microsoft channels. So the challenge itself is just monitoring all those channels and trying to keep up with how they release and what they release.
Yeah.
But that's what
Yeah.
we're doing.
It's part of the job, no? Part of the job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
everybody is in the same boat and doing the same thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would be curious to know what you're doing too.
Oh, I'm doing podcast.
And you find all of the latest news in the podcast in
No, not,
preparations.
but I learn everything in every podcast, and that's really the point. Honestly, what I do, my day, I try to start with Yammer, so I go to the PC Yammer pages, see what's new, and I have my social media addiction is LinkedIn, so I've spent quite a bit of time
Okay.
on LinkedIn to see
Yeah,
who
same.
does what, and I don't have much experience going to events at all.
Okay.
I went to one event so far, and that was the Directions ANZ last
Okay.
year in Sydney. It was the first one. It was an amazing, amazing event. But now I'm also, I mean, no need to mention, but yeah, there's also, I'm trying to attend local user groups, business center user groups, and basically that networking, becoming together with the professionals in your line of business, it really adds a lot of value because you always learn something because everyone coming from a different set of background. So all the,
Yeah.
that all those experiences, that all the conversations you have, it's really adds a lot. It's not only the sessions itself. Yes, granted, sessions are really important, but then when you talk about the sessions with someone else, then actually that's also a really good learning point, right? That's also a really good resource. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and also the ISV word, the AppSource, because I think uh, we're all moving away from the customization first approach, and if there's like a app that solves customers' business, that's definitely a better value than trying to reinvent the wheel. So that's why I'm trying to do this and learn. And honestly, the podcast, this recording is, yes, important, but the build up to that, it's more important because I study your company, I study your apps, I try to understand the value it adds, and yeah, that's all the things I can do. But still, I feel I'm way behind, even though I put as much as effort I can.
You're not
And I do
alone.
certifications too. Yeah, that there is that as well. But yeah, I think I'm not gonna lie. I would put it down the list comparing to the others. I like accreditations. Certifications are good. But if you really, yeah, it's the learning paths. They are quite good in the MS Learn. Uh, but engaging with people and accessing other resources are adding more value. Yeah, thank you
Where do
for
you find
yeah.
time, Arad? Where do you find time to do all this?
As you see, it's 11:45 p.m. There is not much time,
I find it very
but
difficult.
it is difficult. It is difficult, but it's for a reason, right? We benefit from that, so I try to invest. And yeah, I spend a bit time outside work about work, which is I'm not advocating it's healthy, but it's something I think I need to do because in your 9 to 5, it's really difficult to find the time because there's
Exactly.
client to
Yeah.
support, there's something to do, there's an upgrade going on, there's another thing, there's an implementation here, something else there. So it's really difficult to find that learning time. So that's why if you're really, really committed uh, to move forward and keep up, basically keep up, I feel like I have to spend a bit more time outside my work. Yeah. Uh, and
As
we
everybody else, I guess.
as everybody else, exactly, as
Yeah.
everybody else. Yeah, we're all trying to keep our jobs against AI, no? So that another agent doesn't come and wouldn't do the podcast instead of me. I don't know.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Is it a good
AppSource
idea?
AI
That's
podcast.
such AI podcast. So you don't have anyone here. Just I'm pretty sure it will do a better job than me with all the information. It will ask better questions. Um, yeah.
Oh, you're doing an excellent job, actually. I must commend you on that. It's very
That's
good.
very kind of you. Thank you very much, Yuri. Let's wrap this up. Thank you very much for your time again. I really appreciate. I know
My
you're
pleasure.
very busy with go lives and finding time between go lives. It's really valuable. So thank you very much. Um, we didn't speak this. So before I let you go, is there anything exciting you want to share with us in terms of what's happening in Evo-Soft?
Everything is exciting. The whole life is exciting. So, a lot
I
of
love that.
exciting things happen every day. Um, Nothing special. No, we're
Okay.
not saving the world and we're not
Yeah.
breaking the world. So we're
Okay.
just doing normal job, normal operation.
Fair enough. Fair
That's all
enough.
I can say.
No, that's good. That's good. Well, if anyone wants to reach you out, what is the best way to contact you guys?
You can reach out to us on our website, on
Yeah.
emails, on our phones and Teams, all that stuff.
Plenty. Okay, I'll add those to episode description. Um, Thanks again, Yuri, for the time. It's been a pleasure meeting you. It's been a pleasure meeting Evo-Soft and your solutions. Hopefully, we were able to forward that message and the value it might add to their customers or their implementations, to the listeners as well. Before we go, what is your closing notes?
Um, Work hard, stay safe, stay healthy, and all the best.
Okay, and that's a great message. Thank you very much, Yuri, for your time, and thanks
Thank,
for all the listeners tuning in to listen to this episode. And talk to you soon. Yeah, take care. Bye.
thank you, Arad. It was
No worries.
great. Talk later.
Yeah.